Okay, so let's go ahead and get to work on this part right here. I'm going to do number 1. So let me go ahead and close this out. All right, so for these ones, you're going to have to do them, draw the setup independently. So here's how we do that. I go to shapes. I'm going to use the line to make a black line. Remember, you drop the line down from the arrow, and then I like to make a T, like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. The whole purpose of this is to separate the reactants, which is where the arrow is pointing away from the products, which the arrow is pointing to. So next, I'm going to do a text box on this side, and I'm going to write out all the symbols that I see. So the first symbol I see is CL. I like to put a little dash or an equals so I can see what number is going to go there. And then I see an NA, and then I see a BR. I like to copy this and then paste it over here because you're going to always have the same symbols on both sides of the reaction, because the law of conservation says that you cannot create or destroy anything. It's just transferred. So you always have the same symbols on each side. The numbers will be different, but the symbols will be the same. That was step 1. Now step 2 is to count each symbol. So in the CL, I have a 2 in the subscript, so I'll put a 2 here. In this NABR, I have 1 of each. There's no subscript and there's no coefficient, so that means there's only 1 of each of those. Next up, and go over to the products and see that I only have 1 CL, which is attached to the NA. There's no subscript and no coefficient, so there's only 1 of each of those. I have 2 BRs. So this is my first step. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. Anybody lost? Not know how I got this stuff? That was a good time to ask. Okay. So next you want to look for mismatches. So you see that chlorine over here is different from the chlorine over here. Also, the bromine is different from the bromine. So you can start with either one. All right, so I'm just going to start with chlorine because it's up top. And again, there's no rhyme or reason to that. Sometimes there is no rhyme or reason to where to start. It's just, like I said, I want you to treat this like a game. Play with the numbers until everything's equal. Then you can come back and approach the chemistry. So the first step is to figure out what number times 1 equals the number I have over here, 2. All right, good. So that one's pretty simple too. So wherever I see chlorine, Cl, I have to put a 2 in front of it. Now don't put it in between here. It has to go in front of the whole thing. So it has to go right here. Now, since these are bonded together, whatever you do to one affects the other. All right, so think of it like if you invite your cousin to a party and they have 3 of their best friends that have to come with them, you're really inviting 4 people because you invite one, you have to invite them all. So if you have to invite 2 chlorines to make this equal, you also are changing the sodium or the Na that comes with it. So now I'm recounting this. So 2 times 1 makes this 2. And then the 2 times the 1 sodium that was here also changes this to 2. So just a reminder, this stuff down here is not any like special chemistry magic. It's just like a graphic organizer. Like you use a planner to organize your stuff, or you use like tasks on your phone to organize like things you have to do for that day. That's all this stuff is down here. It's nothing special. It's just keeping track of the number of each element. All right, so my chlorine's balanced, my COs are good. All right, but that put Na out of whack. So That's one we can address next. So my NA is lower on this side, so that's the side you have to change. So I'm going to think, all right, I have a 1. 1 times what number will equal this one? 2 again. So I put a 2 in front of where I find the Na. Since the Na is bonded to the Br, then this also has to change to a 2. And wouldn't you know it, hey, check that out. All right, you didn't even want to correct the BR. That was when we started with that wasn't balanced. But just by doing all this other stuff, following your work, it corrected itself. So that's what I mean, like it corrects itself. Is sometimes you don't mean to balance it, but it just by working with it, it will balance it for you. So this is it. This is the correct answer. All right. You don't have to put ones in front of here because, like in math class, you don't need to tell me you multiply by 1. 2's go in front, and that's good for me. So don't be afraid that if you change one, it'll affect other things. That will happen and that can happen, and that's okay. So all these are kind of straightforward. This last one down here is hard. I want to see if you guys can do it. All right. If you get it right, I'll give you extra credit, but I am grading you on the attempt. All right. So that you have to attempt this one. I'll give you extra credit if you get it right. If you get it wrong, you'll get the points for trying because it is a little difficult. This one, there's a lot of changing back and forth. So that's why it's hard. All right. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to do on your own. This is for homework tomorrow. So this needs to be turned in tomorrow. When you are done, since I'm presenting from my computer, I don't have the option to turn in. But up here somewhere, you should have a button that says turn in. Do you guys see that? Anyone not see it? All right. So when you're done, hit the turn in button that's up here on this bar. That's how you turn it in. All right. It is due by the time we start class tomorrow. Any questions? All right. I will be posting this recording, attaching it to the assignment, and you'll have 2 videos. One for part 1, one for part 2 if you need help.